Hi, it's Michael, and today I'm going to be looking at this new espresso, cappuccino, and latte machine. It's made by MAttinata, and I want to thank them for sending this machine to me so that I can take a look at it and show it to you, show you how it operates, how to put it together, and answer some questions that you may have about it. So let's take a look at everything you get out of the box with this machine. They do give you a user guide with the machine, of course, but one thing I really like is as soon as you open the box, you're presented with step-by-step instructions on how to put it all together and get it ready for operation, basically. And I also like the operation of function buttons here. It tells you how many ounces each particular drink will make by default. And the beautiful thing about this is you can adjust these amounts manually if you like, and once you set it to your preference, it will retain that preference. So that is pretty cool, and you can make a single shot or a double shot of espresso. You can make a small cup or a large cup of cappuccino, and you can make a small or large cup of a latte. And just to point out, the latte is going to take a 14.5 ounce cup minimum, so it does make quite a large drink, the large size. So I'll show you all that in just a moment. So here's everything that comes in the box with this machine, and let's just point out a couple things. First of all, this is normally your drip tray area down here. Well, this comes with two drip trays. It comes with a small little low drip tray, and that's if you want to use a travel mug in here, which is going to be taller than your normal espresso cup or cappuccino cup for that matter. So that lets you put a taller cup in here. And then the regular drip tray just fits on top of that. So if you're just using your normal espresso or cappuccino cup, just put it on there. Now this does have a little float when this gets filled with water, which is not going to happen very often. It takes quite a while for this thing to fill up. But it'll sort of pop up there and show you that it's time to empty that drip tray. And this is a stainless steel top, very easy to clean this. And again, this just lifts out. You can run this underwater to clean it. So that is that. This is the platform that the milk container will sit on for when you're making your cappuccinos and lattes. And that installs very easily, and I'll show you how to do that right now. One thing that's nice about this machine is it actually has little suction cups on the feet, and that helps prevent this from sliding around just due to the operational vibration that it'll get. Now there's a little arrow on the side of the machine here that shows you where to line this up. But basically there's a cutout here, and you just align this tab with the cutout, and then you just push it into place and it snaps in, and that's all there is to that. Very easy to do. It comes off just as easily as it went on. You just pull it out and it detaches. But once you've got it in there, you'll probably want to leave it there. Then the milk container will fit right on top of this, and then there's a hole on the side of the machine. And basically once you get your milk in here, I've already got some milk in there, but once you get your milk in there, then you just place it on the platform, snap it into place, and then there's a lock button here. Just slide that into the lock position, and that is all you need to do. Now the water reservoir sits on the back of the machine. This is it right here. When you first open up the box, this is going to have a red plug on it. You just remove that. You can either keep it or throw it out. You won't really need it again. And then you can fill this with water and place it on the platform here on the back. And it also has a lid that'll lift up if you want to just lift it up and fill it that way without taking this off. Here's the portafilter. It's fairly lightweight. For those of you who might be concerned about, is there plastic in it? Well, yes, there is. The exterior is aluminum. I'm assuming it's aluminum, some sort of metal in any case, but there is plastic in the bottom. It's food grade. You really don't have to concern yourself about it. But if you are concerned if there's plastic, yes, there is. You get a single and a double filter basket. I usually always just use the double basket, but you just snap it into place. And if you want to switch to a single basket, I just use the edge of one of the baskets, whichever one is in there, and you can just sort of pry it up like this and swap the baskets if you wish. Now these are pressurized baskets, and what that means is that there's only a single hole on the bottom. And that basically makes it easier for people who just don't want to get crazy about dialing in every minor little detail. You don't have to worry about your grind being perfect. You don't have to worry about your beans being totally fresh. although I do recommend that. Find yourself a local coffee roaster if possible. Get your beans ground to an espresso grind, or if you have your grinder at home, you can do it yourself. But fresh beans really are going to make the whole experience that much better. But the pressurized basket will give you a little more latitude and still enable you to get a crema, unless the beans are just so stale that they don't have any carbon dioxide left in them whatsoever. So I'm going to put the double basket in there because that's what I'll be demonstrating. So you also get a plastic tamper and a scoop. This is probably the weakest point of the whole machine. The company did tell me that in a future batch of these machines, they hope to replace this with a metal tamper, and that would be great if they do that. But right now, I'm just going to be showing you what I've got, which is the plastic tamper. And then here's the drip tray, so we'll put that into place. Now, just to show you the grind that you should be working with, this is an espresso grind. I have a very expensive burr grinder. You don't need a very expensive burr grinder, but you do need a burr grinder. You don't want to use a blade grinder ever. Those are absolutely terrible. You'll never get a consistent fine grind with a blade grinder. So do go out and get a burr grinder, and that'll give you the best result. Now, for a double basket, I usually weigh my coffee grounds when I make it, but you don't have to do that. But basically, this is going to allow you to put 13 grams of coffee in there. And basically, if you just get your scoop and fill it right up to the top, and then once you tamp it down, that is going to give you the proper amount of coffee. And it'll be very close to 13 grams if you were to weigh it. So I get it mostly filled up, and then I just tap this a little bit. That helps compress the grounds a little bit and also levels them off. And then you can usually add a little more coffee in there and then just tamp it again, and then use your tamper and give it a final firm tamp. Now you want to try to make it as level as possible. Usually you could give it a little twist, and sometimes you'll get some coffee sticking to the bottom. That means you probably didn't press hard enough. Give it that little twist and lift it off, and now we have a nice firm tamp. Now plug it in, and you're going to hear the machine beep. And then this is going to be in standby mode. Nothing has really turned on. It's just you're providing power to the machine. This is the standby button, so when I push this, that is actually going to turn on the machine, and it's going to start warming up the water. This uses a thermoblock technology as opposed to a boiler, so it heats up much faster than a boiler machine would. And also the same can be said for making the foam. The thermoblock is going to heat up much quicker than a boiler would. So these are the buttons that you have to deal with. You've got the espresso button, the cappuccino button, and the latte button. To make a single shot, you would push the button once. To make a double shot, you would tap it quickly twice. And that's the same for the cappuccino and the latte. To make a single shot, to make the smaller size cappuccino or latte, you would tap the button once. To make the larger size, you would give it a double tap. So this will take probably about 45 seconds before it gets up to operating temperature, and then the flashing will stop and we'll be ready to go. In the meantime, let me show you how to put the portafilter on the machine. Basically, you move it to about a 45-degree angle and make sure it's in there straight, and then give it about a quarter turn, and this should be sticking straight out. And it also, there's a lock that shows lock right on the machine here, so you know you're in the right position. But you don't want to overfill the portafilter with too much coffee, because there's a screen inside here, and that'll be pressing down, and you won't get the best extraction. I've got my water reservoir full of water, and let me get my cup, and we will make a double shot of espresso. So I'm just going to push this button twice. This is a timer, not a pressure gauge. So usually when you're pulling a double shot, or a single shot for that matter, you want about 30 seconds. If this were to stop at like 20 seconds, that really isn't enough time to get the full extraction. Now, like I said, you can adjust the volumes on this, and the way you do that is you double press the button and then continue holding that button until you get the proper amount that you think you should have, and then release the button. It'll remember that and put it into memory, and the next time you turn the machine on, it'll retain that. So there we go, we've got a nice crema. Just let that drip for a couple more seconds. And there we've just made our first double espresso. There we go. Now, once you've made a drink, you have to get the grounds out of the portafilter. And so I use a knock box, but you don't need to, but it just makes it a little easier. Just tap it on there, the grounds are going to come out, and then you need to clean this, just rinse it out under running water and dry it, and we'll be ready for the next drink. Now the other thing you're going to want to do is just get a paper towel, and you want to clean the screen on the brew head here, and just get the loose grounds out of there. And then we're going to fill this up with coffee, and we're going to make a cappuccino. So once again, you want to just fill this almost completely to the top, tap it, get that coffee to settle, level it out a little bit, and add a little more coffee. And we'll tamp it down once again. Make sure there's no coffee on the top too, in case you get a couple grains up there. That'll affect the ability for it to seal tightly in the brew head. So just attach it, 45 degrees, lock position. Now we're going to get a larger cup because we're going to make a cappuccino. So I've got cold whole milk in here. You can use 2% if you want, or skim milk. They don't recommend nut milks like almond milk, but I've never tried it. I always use whole milk to get the best possible foam. This really does an excellent job making foam too. It's a very, very fine foam, and it's just delicious. So get that so it's pointing into the cup. We're going to make a large cappuccino, so I'm going to push this button twice. And here we go. I think the machine is very quiet. I've had other small machines like this, and they just make a total racket, but this is quite quiet, as you can tell. That's a pre-infusion, so it's just getting the grounds wet. It's going to sit for a few seconds, and now the full extraction is starting. Total time for that part will be about 30 seconds. And there we have it. Let's let that drip for a couple seconds. And there we have a beautiful cappuccino. And just look at the foam. It's such a micro foam, it's really nice. So that is it. Now, the last thing you need to do once you make a milk-based drink is you need to run steam and hot water through this. So I usually just put a small bowl or cup underneath the spout, press and hold the latte button for 3 seconds, and that'll start steam and hot water going through the spout and the mechanism in the milk frothing container. That gets all the milk out of there so it won't curdle while you're storing this in the refrigerator until the next time you use it. It takes a little over a minute for this whole process. So you can see there's still a lot of milk in here because it's coming out white and frothy, but in just a couple more seconds that water will turn clear, and then you'll know you've been successful in cleaning the milk frother. So that water's perfectly clear now. Once it stops, I'll detach the milk container from the machine, put it in the refrigerator where you'll be able to keep it for 2 to 3 days. That's it. Timer will go to 0 when it's safe to take the thing off. There we go. take it off, put it in the refrigerator. So that is it. That's a look at the MAttinata Espresso Latte and Cappuccino machine. I've been using this for several weeks. It's been very reliable. It works very well. Makes delicious cappuccinos and lattes, and the foam that is made by this machine is really great. It's just a very silky, lots of micro bubbles. It's really great. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I'll try to answer them if I can. Thanks a lot for watching. Catch you next time.